The Game Awards, COPPA, the Next Gen, and Stadia flops. All this and more on the upcoming Wumpa Time. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? My name is King Guy, and I am joined by my co-host, Shemp.
Hello, all.
So we are now on another episode of Wumpa Time. I think we've been having a great time so far. Third episode. Yeah. Doing real good. So we're going to open up with the quick news before we get into the big nitty gritty stuff. So the first piece of news is that Pokemon Sword and Shield is now the fastest selling Switch game ever.
Yeah, boycott Pokemon. Yeah.
That worked.
Yeah. Are you sure?
It didn't work. It did not work.
I was honestly kind of shocked it sold so fast. Especially, it's only like when the numbers came out, it was only like 3 days, and it was like at what 3 million?
It was pretty. It was high. I think it was higher than that. It was crazy.
I don't know. Even at work, I was like, I don't think it's gonna sell that well, and then we sold out twice.
We sold it twice, yeah. Did bad, guys. Did bad.
Yeah, they did a horrible job. I can't wait to buy it. I mean, I'm enjoying it. I'm having a lot of fun with it. I know you beat the game already. I'm still shocked you did. And you did the post game.
Yep.
But after that, I think the article was, we said PC Magazine is who reported on this. PC Magazine has confirmed that, yes, a Resident Evil 3 remake has been in the works for quite a while, and we knew rumors of this for about a year now, but we didn't hear like an official word. But yes, Resident Evil 3 Nemesis is getting the RE2 remake treatment. Now, I'm not sure if it's going to be the same type of remake that RE2 got. I'm pretty sure, but we have yet to see anything of it. I mean, personally have never played any of the Resident Evil games.
I mean, then everyone said that Crash Bandicoot was getting too many remakes. Yikes.
Now, everyone's getting too many remakes. Like,
every
other release is a remake.
Crash Bandicoot really started something pretty crazy back with the Insane Trilogy. But
thanks, Crash.
We blame Crash. I have to buy all my favorite games again.
Because all these companies are like, wait, we can just make it again?
It saves so much money.
Oh my god!
So 2K games are still in the fire with their amazing, totally non-buggy WWE 2K20. Masterpiece. So the third patch has rolled out, patch 1.03, and players are reporting that the patch is corrupting their game saves.
Are they fixing anything? Like, do these patches say like, "Hey, we fixed all of it. We fixed all of it. Just every single bit of it we fixed."
Here, we're gonna circle what we fixed. It just circles the whole game.
And they just throw the game away. What's happening? What's happening?
WWE 2K20 play now on Stadia.
Did I tell you that this kid came in the other day and he was like, "Yo," he came into work and he was like, "Yo, you got the new WWE game?" And I was like, "Nah, man, we do, but don't get it." He was, "Why not?" It's like, "It's bad, man." And his face got so sad and he was like, "What do you mean it's bad?" I was like, it's just bad, man. It's not finished. And he goes, "Oh." And then he walks away. I was like, "Oh, come on, man. They're all basically the same."
You saved the kid heartache. Just go back to 2K19.
Dude, just get any other wrestling game. Any other wrestling game. But I don't know. I kind of want to get 2K20 solely because anytime you take a step, you clip through everything.
The shoes and the feet sticking out of the shoes, they don't work.
No, my favorite thing is when you go to the story mode and you make your character like really tall, they just clip through the car when they drive. Like they're just sticking out of the car.
Oh, good. Okay.
Well, okay, so after that, something actually pretty cool. A new Half-Life game came out. And no, it's not Half-Life 3, it's Half-Life Alyx. Now, a lot of people were upset that it's a VR game, but ooh, this looks super cool.
It looks like a really smooth VR game. Like, it looks like finally like a AAA VR game.
Finally. And I think if you buy the Steam Index is what it's called, right? Is that the Steam VR?
I'm not sure.
Whatever the Steam VR headset and stuff is, if you buy that, you get the game for free, and I hope you do, because that headset's like $1,000.
Get a complimentary $60 game. Thanks.
Here you go. Here's a free game. Okay, can I get a refund? No, here's a game. But with Alex, they showed a lot of the hand tracking, and it's really smooth, and I'm not sure if it was just like smoothed up for the trailer, but it looks like real gameplay, and it's really cool. It's really cool that it supports all types of VR headsets, and I'm shocked that it's not coming to PS4 for the PSVR, because the PSVR has the biggest VR install library right now.
I'm wondering if that's what they're trying to avoid, is that they're trying to start their own library and move away from PlayStation. But I mean, it might be ported to the PlayStation later on. I mean,
yeah,
who knows?
Hopefully, because they like that is the biggest install base. They would make a lot more revenue, and honestly, that would sell more systems.
Oh yeah, definitely. So that's your quick news for the day, and we're gonna get right into the big news of today. We're gonna start off with the Game Awards.
What happened?
Okay, so there's a lot of, as you said, weird things going on. Some of the nominations, in my opinion, are a little weird. Not the other nominations, but specifically the Game of the Year. The Game of the Year nominations.
Game of the Year, yes. Three things actually stick out for me. Actually, four. I'm going to say there's four things that stick out for me.
Well, I like to hear those four things.
So first off, obviously, I'm going to get to the big one last, but first off, Smash for Game of the Year, that's cool, but that's like cool. Last year, didn't they forget like Xenoblade existed?
Did it come out in 2019?
I think, or Xenoblade 2, 2019 or 2018, they just kind of forgot it happened. Like it wasn't even nominated for like Best RPG or anything. It just wasn't there at all. So it's weird seeing Smash in the Game of the Year category.
Yeah.
Next up, Control, like, really? Control?
I mean,
the game that everyone kind of forgot about?
I mean, like, from what I heard, like, it looks like a good game. It looks good.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I really want to play it.
But, like, maybe it's just, like, an outside opinion, but just by looking at it, it doesn't scream, Game of the Year. It screams great game and could be a stepping stone to Control 2, which could be even better. And I don't know, just from what I heard from it, what some people were saying overall, people were saying it's good, like it's good, really decent, but it, has some issues, right?
See, the big thing for me is for work, I edit this big new games coming out thing, and we play it in the back room, and when the Control trailer came on, every time I saw it I was like, this looks super cool, I really want to play this. And then the game came out, no one talked about it, it kind of faded out because Death Stranding was coming out, a bunch of Smash news was coming out, it just kind of faded away, and then all of a sudden, Game of the Year, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that the Game of the Year, they have a tendency to throw a game that maybe didn't get enough credit where it was due, and because of that, it's not going to win, but they throw it in there so that it gets attention. So, people are like, Control. Like, last year was like Celeste, right? Right, that was like the indie game, and it was a game that was just like, I never even heard of it, right? It was, and they're like, Celeste for an indie title for Game of the Year, and I was just like, wait, what? Celeste? And it made me realize, okay, what is this game about? And I decided to look it up, and I think that that's what sometimes the game awards do, is that they throw a game in there that maybe you didn't know or you slightly heard of, and that's it. So from what I remember, Game of the Year, it's Smash Bros., Control, Death Stranding, which I have a lot to say about that. And then
the Outer Worlds, Sekiro, and then Sekiro. Another one that confuses me besides Death Stranding is Resident Evil 2. Like, I know it's a really good game, it's a fantastic game, but I don't know how I feel about a remake winning Game of the Year.
Yeah. Like, I think it stands far enough away from the original, because when I've seen the gameplay of the original compared to it, I think it stems far enough away, but it is essentially a remake of another game, and yeah, I feel kind of weird about it too.
Yeah, because we celebrate these games for being new, original, stepping out, everything. Because, like you said, Control, Death Stranding, Sekiro, Outer Worlds, even Smash, they're all defining factors for an original IP. And then Resident Evil 2 just kind of like, hey guys, remember me?
Right, exactly. I mean, if you also look at the original, like let's take a look at the games that were nominated last year, right? It was, which was God of War, Red Dead Redemption 2, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Celeste, and Spider-Man. Okay? Yeah. Those games, except I didn't know Celeste, but I played every single one of those games. And iffy on Assassin's Creed, I was like, okay, yeah, I can see it. But all the rest of those games could have won Game of the Year. It could have been Red Dead, it could have been God of War, and it could have been Spider-Man. I played all three. They're great. They're fantastic. And they all deserved that spot. Like, yes, you deserve that spot, hands down. Assassin's Creed, a little iffy. Celeste, I don't know because I never played it. And this year, I'm looking at it and I'm like, no, like, not that these games don't deserve it, but like,
it's just so weird. Like, I honestly can't put into words how weird this selection is.
Yeah, it's really, it feels like even Outer Worlds, Outer Worlds is fun. I've been playing it. I find it slow. It's like really slow. But I'm enjoying it when I play it here and there.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's fun. But let's get to the bread and butter of a big issue of the whole Game Awards, and it comes down to one game. Death Stranding. The game that you see in almost every category. Yeah. Now, for some of for some of you that don't know, the Game Awards is ran by Jeff. It's Keighley. Is it Keighley?
Jeff Keighley. Yeah.
Keighley. Yeah. So. Okay. Jeff Keighley. It's like Jeff Knightley or Geitley, but Keighley. So Jeff Keighley, and he is basically the showrunner of the Game Awards, and his best friend is Hideo Kojima, who is the director and who made this whole game, Death Stranding, from the ground up.
All him, no one else.
Yeah, basically. He just, struck a pen, clapped his magic hands together, and Death Stranding happened. And there's a lot of really, really weird issues. And this actually ties into something else too, Shump, because I don't know if you know about this either, which it ties up together really weirdly. If you know, Death Stranding has a bunch of celebrities in there. You got Norman Reedus, you got Guillermo del Toro, Conan O'Brien. And basically what Kojima did was that he brought all of his friends, his celebrity friends, into his workshop, 3D scanned their face, and implemented them into the game and got them to voice act, right? So that's fine, that's great. One of those people that he brought in was Jeff Keighley. And
yeah, that's right. He is in the game.
Jeff Keighley is in the game. And now he's running the Game Awards. And so now...
it is favoritism.
Yeah. And on top of that, for every category that's possible that Death Stranding is in, it's nominated. Possible. If they could have gotten away with Best Puzzle Game, Death Stranding would have been in there, if it was possible.
I mean, it is nominated for Best Action Game, and I'm like, are you sure? Like,
Walking?
Did you play the same game? Now, for people listening, obviously, yes, Death Stranding is a good game in some aspects. The story's really good. Yes. I completely agree that it should win Best Narrative and maybe Best Art Direction. That's what it's nominated for. But Best Action Adventure Game? Like, are you sure?
Yeah.
I don't think, because when I play Borderlands 3, I'm looking at the roster right now. Borderlands 3, that's an action adventure game. Control, action adventure. Resident Evil 2, yeah, I get it. Sekiro, Zelda Link's Awakening. I don't know.
Enough. But,
enough. And then you look at Death Stranding. Like, I could take video clips of every one of these games besides Death Stranding and be like, okay, yeah, I see what's going on. And then I look at Death Stranding and I am probably just blind to Kojima's amazing artistic direction for gameplay, but I just don't understand.
Well, do you know how long the cinematics are in the game? Do you know, like, when someone compiled all cinematics together, it's 11 hours long.
Yeah, 11 hours. And when you play the game, the last cutscene is 2 hours long.
Oh my gosh. Now, this is where something is where I'm going to tie into this. Now, there is a Japanese magazine called Famitsu. It starts with F.
I've always said Famitsu. I just kind of went with that. I don't know if it's right or not.
So you know the magazine that I'm talking about, right?
Yes.
Death Stranding got a perfect score in that magazine. Perfect.
Yeah. Yep.
But now this is where things get interesting. Guess who's face scanned into the game?
Oh yeah, that's right.
The director, the CEO of Famitsu, and I apologize if I'm butchering the name, ladies and gentlemen, is in the game, and a logo, an abandoned logo, like for one of his magazines or something, is like or like a symbol or whatever in the game on the rocks. It's there, and
yeah, I forgot about that.
So we got Mr. Fumatsu. Well, I'm gonna call him. Mr. Fumatsu is in the game, and it gets a perfect score. Jeff Keighley, running the Game Awards, is in the game, and is nominated for literally everything. If there was a nomination for Best Artificial Baby, it goes to Death Stranding because no one else has an artificial baby. Or anything along the lines of that. Death Stranding would be there.
You'll probably find this interesting. I know this isn't like confirmed, but this is what's speculated. All of these entries for the Game Awards are decided by game critics. Like, they all come together and decide what comes on there, and then we vote on them. Right. So it's not them looking at, what's the most popular and what's sold well so we can put it on there. No, it's what critics decide what that goes on there, and then I guess they sort them all out. Now, another thing that I'm thinking is, I know the Game Awards isn't solely just Jeff Keighley. Right. I know there's a whole team behind it, and I'm wondering if they agreed to put Death Stranding on almost every category because, like you said, there's so many celebrity actors, and they're trying to make it seem like an Oscars type of thing, so Hollywood will pay attention. So when undoubtedly we know Norman Reedus is going to win Best Actor in a game
because he's an actual actor.
He's a real actor. So with all of the footage of him going up to the Game Awards and getting his award for best performance, it's going to get Hollywood to turn their heads and be like, "Oh, what's going on over there? Oh, okay. Let's dump some more money into this, see what we can get in there." Because they do have sponsors. Like, there's a whole category that's brought to you by Subway, and then there's another one that's brought to you by I think, like Burger King or something.
Oh, of course, yeah. It's going to get eyes from around the world, people who are not even interested in to look at the Game Awards because of all these massive actors and actresses that are in the game.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And I don't know. Like, if Death Stranding doesn't win, like I went in already expecting that Death Stranding was going to win Game of the Year. I was already going in there, I'm like, yeah, that's what's going to happen. If it didn't happen, I would be blown out. Man, if they came out and said Super Smash Bros. Wins Game of the Year, my head, I think my head would explode.
I would probably just kind of drop down and be like, okay, whatever. I guess everything I know is a lie.
So I think my head would explode. But I mean, I want it to win. I would love Smash Bros. To win. But I mean, yeah.
But I don't think it's going to win.
No.
I think when it comes down to it, it's going to be between Death Stranding and RE2. Like, it's going to be those two. Sekiro is an extremely good game, but knowing how these voting jurisdictions work and how everything ties together, it's going to be between those two. Yeah,
definitely. I agree. But we'll see. We'll have to see, but I think Death Stranding is going to be the winner. And it's just weird. It's all just weird, and it's been sitting with me weird. It's been sitting with Shemp weird. We're feeling very weird about this. It's just like, there's a lot of things lining up here that shouldn't be lining up, but that's besides the point. So, while moving on from something very weird, we're going to move on to the next generation. No, I don't mean Star Trek.
Yeah.
I don't mean Star Trek.
I'd be down.
I mean the next generation of gaming. The PS5 and the Xbox Scarlet.
And the Switch Pro. No, I'm kidding.
Maybe. It's possible. But
whatever.
So, the interesting thing about next gen, and this was a comment that I've heard a lot, and this is something I really want to talk to you about, and we briefly talked about it, was that there were people that were saying when we started hearing talks of the PS5 and Scarlet, last year, late last year, early last year, when it started, people were saying, "Oh, we don't need next gen. My console's perfectly fine."
What? Why?
They're like, why do we need next gen? It's too early. It's too early. It's like, no, it's on time. It's on time with everything. No, we don't need it.
No, we don't need it. I mean, to be fair, it does feel weird this generation because every console's gotten like an upgrade console.
Mid-generation upgrade, yeah.
We had like the PS4 and then the PS4 Pro, and it's like, whoa, this is the next generation. Like, no, it's the same.
Well, yeah, the reason why, though, between the PS4 Pro and the PS4 was that if you think about it, take the hype goggles off and take a step back. If you look at the jump between the PlayStation 1 and the PlayStation 2, huge. The jump between PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 3, huge,
yeah.
Jump between PS3 and PS4, not as huge.
Let's clarify, late PS3 to early PS4.
Yeah.
That, late PS3 games like Uncharted 3 looked pretty good.
Yeah.
And then early PS4 games like Infamous Second Son looked pretty good. The big thing with the PS4 was, look, everything's 1080. Like, it's not always 720 or 1080. It's always 1080. And look, the worlds are bigger. That was really it.
That was it,
like,
yeah.
They didn't really push. It was just resolution.
Yeah, and that was something... And I remember tech enthusiasts, a lot of them, there was a few of them that were saying, this isn't really that great, guys. Like, when the technology that was coming out for the time for the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, I mean, heck, the OG Xbox One couldn't even run 1080p.
Oh, God. It was
900p.
Like 900p. And let's not forget, it required to be online all the time.
Yeah, luckily they changed that, thank goodness.
And originally, I think you remember, you couldn't share games.
Yeah, you couldn't. It was through, there was like a step-by-step process where you would have to digitally share the game, and it was like a rental. It was just...
Yeah, and PS4 was like, here's how you share games. And then you gave them a game, and that was it.
That was it. But now the next generation is on the horizon, and the same tech enthusiasts that were against the PS4, they're now looking, not against it, but they were like not hyped about it. They're pretty hyped about the PS5 and the Xbox One Scarlet.
And so I'm not sure about the Xbox One because I haven't really heard much about it, but definitely the PS5, mainly because of the backwards compatibility, because they've already confirmed it'll play PS4 games. Now, I don't know if they're going to pull an Xbox and be like, okay, a couple of them are going to be backwards compatible, and then we'll add more later down the road.
I don't think so. I
hope not. Because...
I think I know why. I just got thought it. And the reason why is because if you look at one of the reasons why the PS5 and the PS4 are almost a shoo-in, like we're 99.9% sure it's going to be backwards compatible with the PS4, is because it's literally the same architecture as the PS4, just up-resed. Just better.
And that was the big thing. That's why the PS4 isn't backwards compatible, is because the PS3 architecture was such a headache.
It's cell-based. It was like, why was this designed this way?
Even Sony can't emulate it. There is an emulator right now for the PS3 on PC, but it's been in development for like 2 years, 3 years.
It's still not great.
Still extremely early, yeah.
Yeah,
it's amazing what they've gotten, but it's so early.
Yeah, it's still crazy how ineffective and how terrible the PS3 is. But then the Xbox 360 and the Xbox One, it was different. It wasn't crazy different, but it was different enough to the fact where if you put an Xbox 360 game, they only released it in batches because they had to convert it and get it all set up and kind of like, okay, we have to adjust certain settings and to make it work and make it emulate correctly. But I think it's just going to work straight to disc. A disc, pop in, bang, you're good. You got everything set up.
And I'm sure you heard did you see the demo that they did with Spider-Man?
Yes, with the SSD drive.
Ooh. Yeah, so that's the big thing. That's going to be the big thing next generation. It's going to be hopefully frame rate and mainly load times. A bunch of developers have come out already and saying, hey guys, we've got the PS5 dev kits. I can tell you right now, load times are not going to be a problem at all. So for people, a quick recap, for the people who don't know what we're talking about, there was a showcase on a stage where behind a curtain they had a PS4 Pro and a PS5 dev kit running a Marvel Spider-Man. Right. And what they did was they quick traveled from one end of the city to the other end of the map. And on the PS4 Pro, it took around 10 seconds because it faded to black, loaded the animation of him on the subway, and then it loaded him into the game. And then when they did the same exact thing on the PS5, it went from 10 seconds to 0.8 seconds.
The fade didn't even finish.
Like, the game couldn't even load him on the subway when it was like, oh, you're there.
Yeah, it was like, boom, you're there. And something else that was really interesting, too, is that they capped Spider-Man's speed to the render rate. And the reason why was because what was happening was they had Spider-Man flying like crazy through the city streets. And what was happening was that the render couldn't keep up. And what was happening is that you were getting popping, right? The buildings popping in, rendering in, and it looked bad. So what they had to do is that they had to slow down Spider-Man while he was swinging through the streets so that all the buildings could load on time. But then they did the comparison where they're like, okay, let's have it uncapped. And Spider-Man is literally flying through faster than the user can even swing, and everything's rendering perfectly fine. Like nothing is out of place, nothing is popping, everything is loading in beautifully. And what makes me think too, Shep, is that with the SSD drive being the way it is, how is the AI programming going to be and the AI's reaction time? Where, let's say, if you want to play a game on extremely hard mode, right? Think about it.
Oh, yeah, because the AI for a good example for AI how it affects performance is with the one that comes to mind immediately is the multiplayer for Uncharted 4 runs at 60 frames per second when you're playing with everyone, and it's really cool. But the moment you play survival and the AI comes, it caps it at 30 because the processor is having to like automatically tell the AI where to go, and it's also trying to run the game at the same time. Right.
So it needs like, okay, settle down there. I need to focus on this as well so that it doesn't blow up. And it's all this tech has got me really excited. I am super pumped.
And with the hard drive, so they said that SSD is going to be soldered to the board, which is interesting. Mm-hmm. So that means you can't upgrade the hard drive like you can on a PS4, but I think there's theories that there is going to be an optional expandable storage slot where you can pop in a hard drive. Yeah. That's the rumor, and there's also a patent filed for a new cartridge type of thing.
Yeah, I saw that.
I think that was debunked by someone saying that in Brazil, Sony has this educational console and it uses those types of cartridges, so everyone thought it was that, but still not sure. It could be a PS5 thing. Not sure. We'll have to see. But right now, all that we know about the PS5 is what the dev kit looks like, and it looks like a spaceship.
It looks like a spaceship. It looks like a spaceship toaster in the shape of a V, and I love it.
Did you see that the developer who posted a Twitter or posted a picture of it on Twitter got his account like deleted?
Oh yeah, it wasn't even like suspended. He just got deleted off the internet. Deleted. he got deleted off the internet. It's just like,
hey guys, check this out.
The Sony ninjas. Now, a few more things before we move on. There was something that I was listening to, and there were reports coming out. Multiple reports came out recently talking about Xbox Scarlet versus the PlayStation dev kits. And right now, the developers are saying, in unanimous decision, saying that at the moment, the PlayStation 5 dev kit is better than the Xbox dev kit.
Ooh, really?
Right, but I looked into the details a little bit, and it was a little bit clickbaity the way they titled it. They titled it as the PlayStation 5 dev kit is better than the Scarlet dev kit. I was like, okay. But then when I read into it... Words. Yeah, definitely bold words. And when I read into it, it was a little bit misleading, but it does bring a question, and it's not positive towards Xbox. They said that at the moment, the PlayStation dev kit, yes, is better than the Xbox dev kit. But the reason being is because the Xbox dev kit isn't finalized yet and not 100% with its software or hardware. And that PlayStation's dev kits are more solid and more updated to the current hardware that they have.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, okay, that's great. But then it made me think, why is Xbox behind so far by PlayStation? And why hasn't Xbox been talking about Scarlet? We've been hearing information about the PS5 now for the past 7 months directly from PlayStation themselves. Not leaks, not like, she said, he said. Actual information from Mark Cerny, the engineer behind the PlayStation 5, talking to us.
Who also helped make Spyro. I'd just like to throw that out there.
Yep, he also helped make Spyro. And now what have we heard about Scarlet?
So what I'm thinking, because what Xbox has been doing, like, they're trying to play, like, not catch up, But whenever Sony came out and they were like, yeah, our hard drives are going to be soldered to the board so they're super fast, Xbox put out a video where they're like, us too. Yeah, we got the same thing. Check it out.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
They had a video called Project Scarlet, and it was like, our hard drives are so good, and that was it. They never talked about the games, about the hardware. It was just like, our hard drives are so cool.
Yeah, do you remember the E3 where literally they made it look like they were doing like a reveal of what the console was going to look like? You like this extreme close up on this white like box, and you're like, ooh, could this be it? Ooh. And then it's like going through, and then you're realizing, you're like, why is it like infinitely white? And you realize it was just 3D text of the word Scarlet. And it was just like, what?
That's a weird looking console.
Yeah, it's just like there's no controller. No, they're not revealing anything. And I am nervous for Xbox because it's like, why are you not talking about Scarlet? We know stuff about PlayStation. PlayStation's been communicating with the fans, and they've been clear and concise. They're like, we want to make sure that it's a decent price point. We want to make sure that the SSD is the best on the market. Here's even the graphics chip that we're using. Here's the gigahertz that processors that we're using. This is what we're working with AMD to make sure that and they're literally open communication, not through leaks from Sony themselves. And we haven't heard jack about Scarlet. I thought they had the Xbox 2019 showing recently, like that Xbox reveal that we were talking about last week. Nothing about the Scarlet. Not a word, not a peep, nothing. And I'm like, why? Why are you not talking about this? Especially with the fact, and another thing too, and we gotta move on because I don't want us to run out of time, but especially with the fact that Halo is coming out next year as a launch title, and we haven't even seen gameplay yet.
And the big thing, it's also coming to the Xbox One. So why do I need to buy a Scarlet?
I don't know. And this is where I don't understand. I don't get it. Xbox, what are you doing? Figure your crap out. Why are you not why are you not talking? You need to be able to hype marketing. If you could boil down marketing to one word, it's hype.
Yeah. Hype. Word of mouth for a console is like the worst idea.
Yeah, just like get people excited. Show something. Show like, hey, even if it's subtle teases, because the thing is the internet will latch onto it and take off with it. No problem. Subtle teases. But something.
Just anything, please. Just for the Xbox fans.
Please, anybody. So, and speaking of please and begging, we're going to move on to the next thing that is a little bit more of a somber tone. COPPA.
COPPA. I'm sure you've heard every type of thing imaginable about this topic.
Yeah, COPPA. So
it's being brought up because it affects channels like us.
Yes, very much so. So, do you want to explain COPPA? I've explained it probably 400 times on live streams. Do you want to explain it?
Sure. I'll give my best. You just chime in.
I'll chime in when you're obliterately wrong. I'm just kidding.
So COPPA is this amazing new feature.
Wrong.
So COPPA is COPPA is basically the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, and it was enforced in 1998. So it's not new. It was in 1998, and it's to protect kids on the internet. That's the nitty-gritty. That's the base goal of COPPA, and that's a really good goal. I fully approve that.
Yeah, totally.
It's just
specifically collecting information from kids to stop child predators and corporations.
Yes, because if you ever, I'm sure you're watching this, so obviously, but whenever you use the internet, you go to YouTube, you go to Amazon, you go to eBay, everything is stored in cookies. I'm sure you've seen websites saying, hey, we store your cookies. And you're like, okay, whatever. Basically what that is that's the website / browser caching in, not caching as in money, but CACHE, cache. It will store your passwords and your credit card information, all that stuff, locally, so you don't have to keep typing it in. It's just a way to make your life easier. You can turn them off. Like, that's up to you. But kids don't know that. They don't know what cookies are. I didn't know what cookies were until like 3 years ago. But it's something that will store your data, and if you're above the age of 13, like 13 and up, you have the mindset to consent to what you are doing if you are given the proper information. Kids do not, and this is to protect them. Now, what they were doing is YouTube did a big oopsie doopsie no-no and What did they do? What did YouTube do specifically?
So what YouTube was doing was that they were collecting data from kids under the age of 13, specifically collecting, looking at their cookies, looking at. Now, of course, there is a whole bunch of arguing going on because in order to make a YouTube account, you need to consent that you're over the age of 13. However, to access YouTube, you don't need an account. Right? You don't need an account just to be able to save things for later, or you, of course, can lie. And COPPA was basically like, is there any opportunity that someone under the age of 13 could easily access YouTube and have their cookies read? And the answer was, yes, they can.
And the FTC, which started this whole thing, fined YouTube $42,000 per violation, and that totaled up to... How much was it again?
Well, it was a ridiculous number. It was something stupid, but YouTube
was multiple millions.
Yeah, but YouTube brought it down to 170 million. So
good Lord.
Yeah, so 170 million, they brought it down to that, and they also agreed on top of that to enforce an uploading factor that the uploader has to consent to, so that if there's any issues whatsoever, it gets hit the uploader and not YouTube themselves, and it's to ask if the video is directed towards children or not.
So YouTube basically just started pointing the finger, saying it's not our fault, it's their fault, so if this happens again, it's on them. So the FTC put out a video talking about all the rules, everything that these content creators need to follow, and everything that they said affected a huge portion of YouTube. People who did kid-friendly content, like Canadian Guy, people who do videos on video games, cartoons, movies, because adults enjoy this content too. Like, people like talking about Spyro, even though they're like probably 35, because it's a fun game.
Right.
But the FTC would just see it as, oh, that's a kid's game, and they're talking about it, so it's for kids, and they're not following the rules. Bam, there is up to $42,000 fine on the creator.
So the question would be, why don't you just mark the video for kids? Just mark it for kids and then move on with your life. There's a problem with that. So if you just mark it for kids, you lose a whole bunch of features. You lose comment sections. You lose the like and dislike bar. Your searches get buried. You can't even get them to hit the bell. So that if
you hit the bell, you don't even get notified.
You don't even get notified. You can't save the video for later. But the biggest hit and the biggest sock to the face is that they did a test. It was there was a website that did a test, Tube Filter, I can't remember. And they had 10 creators switch all their stuff or they removed the targeted ads, because that's the big thing, is that you lose targeted ads. So that means that when a kid, we're going to look at it, if it's kid-directed content, YouTube recognizes that, and they just throw a generic ad on there, whatever ad they think is paying the most at the time. And because no one's going to click it, you get less revenue, and because you get less revenue, they found up to 50 to 90% of revenue was lost because it was labeled as kids. And they lost views, which, of course, inherently made them lose money. Even more money overall. So... fine. It's very easy to turn around and say, like, oh, stuff like Baby Shark, that's directed towards kids. Yeah,
that stuff.
It's singing the ABCs, nursery rhymes, stuff like that. 100% fine. That's clear. That's clear and blatant. But then what about Minecraft Let's Plays? What about Spyro? What about Crash Bandicoot? These are games that are technically bright, colorful, and the FTC came forward and gave a whole bunch of rules towards what is good and what's not good. And the child-directed content, and this is the big thing, is that what they were saying was defining as child-directed content was also hitting the generic family-friendly.
Yes.
Right? And that is where the gray area was me. Like, this channel is family friendly, right? It's the whole point.
Like you and Jordan Fringe, both of you come out and said, my content is for families. I want families to enjoy it. But the FTC could see that, that's kid content.
Right. And that's the problem. That is the issue. And that was the debate that everyone was talking about, was that is family-friendly content the same as kid-friendly content? And we weren't getting a lot of answers. And almost every YouTuber I know has been talking about COPPA. All these things have been happening. And it's
been stressing us out.
It's been stressing a lot of us out, but I do come bearing with good news. There is good news.
Two bits of good news, actually. I'll let you go first, because a lot of people don't know about this next one.
Right. So the FTC clarified something, because there was two factors that a lot of people were talking about, and it was animated characters and bright colors. That's what they declared as could be considered as kid friendly. And that was something that everyone was like, well, bright colors, everyone likes bright colors, and adults even love animated characters. So could a video game character be considered an animated character? There's a whole bunch of issues. But the FTC came out today and said, quote, "Just because your video has bright colors or animated characters doesn't mean you're automatically covered by COPPA. While many animated shows are directed to kids, the FTC recognizes there can be animated programming that appeals to everyone." Remember, they said everyone. So they're specifying on that. "To be clear, your content isn't considered directed to children just because some children may see it." So... but however, if your intended audience is kids under 13, you're covered by COPPA, and you have to honor the rules and requirements. So that gives a lot more wiggle room to actually let people know, hey, just because you have bright colors and an animated character in there, that doesn't exclusively mean it's only kid content.
Yes. So so we can all agree that I think a lot of their heads started turning when all that ElsaGate stuff started happening.
Yeah, the ElsaGate, the guy dressed in Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Can you explain ElsaGate for those who may not know, because it's a weird...
So ElsaGate was a weird time in YouTube's history where people were banking off of kids not knowing what to do. It was people dressing up as Elsa from Frozen and Spider-Man and the Joker, and they were doing these weird, like basically dark web style videos where they didn't make any sense. They're really eerie, and kids just saw their favorite characters and did whatever. And then the videos ended up with them like Spider-Man impregnates Elsa and shoots the Joker and stuff like that. Just random titles on the videos with all these weird thumbnails, and kids clicked on them and they got millions of views and millions of dollars, and it was a huge controversy. YouTube cracked down on it, but it's still there. I see people in grocery stores with their kids with their phone, and they're watching that weird like Johnny stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, that's one of the big things that they're cracking down on. So what was the other thing that you said that a lot of people don't know?
Oh, yes. Real quick before we move on, the real thing is that, or the other thing is that now if YouTube announced that if you're a content creator and you get the yellow $sign, that no longer means less ad revenue. That means different ads. So you will get ads targeted to an older demographic. So instead of like one of my videos basically getting a Frozen 2 ad, I'll get an ad for like Honey, which is a browser extension, or an older movie like PG-13 or R-rated or stuff like that.
Right.
So they could push those ads more. So they've found a way to please advertisers and content creators.
Right, because there are people who are okay with the edgier crowd. Like maybe they want to advertise Mike's Hard Lemonade, or alcohol, or maybe there is like a PSA that they want to send to the older generation, maybe about vaping, right? Because these things, you got all these things, right, where yellow $signs doesn't necessarily mean reduced ads. It just means different ads. And
exactly,
apparently they've been experimenting with that for the past, a few months, and they said that it's generated hundreds of thousands of dollars of revenue. So that's good.
Yes,
that's good.
That's really good. Yes,
because now so that's good. Now before we move on, it's going to be, here's my thoughts about COPPA, and this is my issue. So you got the ElsaGate, which is, like you said, really weird. But I feel bad for these content creators that made content towards kids, because making it in YouTube is hard.
Yeah.
It's
really hard.
Really hard. I wouldn't even consider myself that I made it. Like, I would say that if you can go a month casually uploading and still pay all your bills by the end of that month without having to stress out, then you can say you've made it. right? Unfortunately, I haven't made that. Shemp hasn't made that. Jordan Fringe hasn't made that. We haven't made that point yet where, you know, if we don't upload that month, we're perfectly cool and not stressed, right? And
that's the goal.
That's the goal. That's the goal, is that, you know, maybe 2 uploads a week, 1 upload a week. If I have a bad month, I just need to upload once or twice a week and I still be able to pay the bills. But unfortunately, we're not at that point. We're not even close to that point yet. No. So from that point, I feel bad for the content creators who found a niche. They found something. They love creating. Maybe it's just like this one channel where it's a family where the guy makes custom Nerf guns, right?
Yeah.
And they have Nerf gun wars together in the backyard. Like, how cool is that? Right?
Yeah, and now they just can't.
They can't do that anymore. They can't do that and make revenue off of it. Right?
Unless they just like drop an F-bomb at the very beginning, like, all right, you're good. All right, we're gonna keep going.
Right, and but they don't want to do that, right? There are channels.
No.
There are channels that have been coming out and doing, like, there are some channels that were doing sock puppet history, where it was just like the sock puppets and this little stage, and it was professionally done, but it was done with sock puppets explaining history, like, the American Revolution and the Boston Tea Party and all these things. And, you know, it was a way for kids to learn history through sock puppets, right? And
yeah, just cute.
It's cute and it's interesting, and you know what? It's fun, but they're going out, and now what's going to happen is that there's going to be almost no kid content on YouTube, and that's kind of depressing if you think about it, because there's so many people that found a way to be able to create content the way they love to and be able to affect kids' lives. I mean, there are some people that are just so happy that they're able to create a video that a kid wants to watch over and over again because they love it so much, right? Like,
what if a kid uploads a video and he gets hit with this COPPA law?
I have no idea. I have no idea how that's going to work. I have no idea. You're supposed to, when you're uploading content, you're supposed to be uploading, you're agreeing that you're 13 plus, and what if you're not?
You're gonna sue an 11-year-old for $42,000.
And on top of that, the big thing too that I said, and this was when I heard this number, my socks almost blew off. Every minute. Sorry, I thought it was every hour. I'm like, no, every minute. Every minute, 300 to 500 hours of YouTube content's uploaded on the site. Every minute.
Wow.
300 to 500 hours of content. Now let me ask you something. How are you going to sweep through that? How are you going to sweep through that and find the kid-friendly content or the kid-directed content among that? How?
The bad algorithm.
Yeah, terrible algorithm. But it's saying the FTC is going to do it, not even YouTube. It's not even going to be YouTube doing it. It's going to be the FTC. It's like, yeah, good luck. Good luck. Like, I would like to see. Of course, they're going to hit the big multi-million subscriber channels first, of course, and they're going to make examples out of them. But these other channels, like, what are you doing? Like, good luck. Good luck on sweeping through all of that. It's not going to work. It's not. I just don't think it's going to work. I don't see how it's going to be plausible for them to sweep through that much footage.
Yeah. Honestly, there's not much more to say. Hopefully you guys got updated with that. Yeah,
so we're going to move on to a much happier, well, depending on which side of the aisle.
No.
Depending on the Stadia. Oh my goodness, the Stadia. You know, I got to say, the Stadia is a news piñata of jokes and information that you can just keep beating to death and just keep finding more.
I'm sure we're going to be covering Stadia more and more. I want to say at least 2 more episodes, because it's just been like a dumpster fire. And it makes it even worse that Amazon was like, oh yeah, we'll do that too.
It's so bad.
So let's start with the big one. I don't know if we touched on this.
They're all big. Which one are you talking about?
Let's start on all of them. I'm not sure if we covered this last week, but people who bought the like special creators founders edition, whatever, they got their package in the mail. They got the controller, they got the little Chromecast, and they plugged it up, and it said, "Hey, input your creator code." I was like, "Okay, cool." And where is it? Where's my code? So you go to Google support and you get put into this queue on trying to figure this out, and you're like, oh, you're number 685 in the queue. We'll be with you right away. Will you? Will you really?
Will you?
Are you sure? So people were like, hey, I want to try Stadia, but I can't because I don't have the code. And then whenever they got Stadia, whenever they got the code, it was like, okay, cool. What are the 2 games that I get? What are the 2 free games I get with my founders? You get Destiny 2. You get the free game, which is cool. And you get Samurai Showdown. So you get a shooter and a fighter. And from what I've seen, Destiny 2 runs all right. You know, it plays and sometimes looks like Minecraft, but it plays. Samurai Showdown. Ooh, no, siree, no. That is not a good time.
That sounds awful. But I got something else to add on, which I almost promised that you haven't heard because it was only done by one video. One guy did it. They decided to, you know what? Let's do a teardown of the controller. Let's do a teardown of the Stadia.
Okay.
They couldn't. They had, there was, on the whole thing, there's one screw.
Are you kidding me?
One screw. And so he unscrews it and he couldn't detach it. So do you know what he had to do to get the top faceplate off? He had to get a Dremel. He dremeled the whole thing and got
No.
And when he popped it off, it had an 1.25 inch clips and 8 of them all around. Like you couldn't pop it open. There's no way you can pop it open.
Why is there a screw? What's the screw there for?
They didn't know. The guy said, "What's the screw for?" He goes, "I don't know." There was one screw, and you get to the screw, it was behind a plastic piece that they had to take a heat gun to remove.
What's happening?
I don't know.
What is this? Oh my God.
Right, and it's like, you know, the Xbox, it's like you can see the screws. It doesn't matter. You just pop the back plate off and pop, everything is great. PlayStation, take a few things off, pop, everything is good. You can see the screws. It's fine. Not Stadia, though. It's screwless, and there's no way to you literally have to take it apart like an iPhone.
Welcome to Stadia. Gaming is the future.
Oh, man.
What screws?
What's a screw? And people have been reporting that the Stadia has literally been eating data. Like, I know we talked about this last week, but it's just getting bad. Like, the amount of data that the Stadia is eating through, people are like, this is like, my ISP is slowing me down how much this thing is eating data.
And Google said themselves, hey, we'll talk to the ISPs. We'll be like, hey, we're super cool. Hey, you should let us through. And everyone was like, okay, cool. Now the ISPs are like, no, that never happened. Now, a big thing is their Stadia is overheating Chromecast to the point to where they are melting on the inside. And they're like, what happened to my game? And they look behind their TV. Oh, that's smoke. That is legit smoke. I can't touch it. It's hot. Wow, my HDMI port just got burned and now it's useless. Oh, great.
Oh, but it gets better. Google responded. Do you know what they said?
What'd they say?
Oh, man, I gotta pull it up. I want to read it quote for quote because, man, someone literally reported that their Chromecast kept like shutting off because it was overheating constantly, and they couldn't touch it because it was too hot to touch. Way too hot. This was Google's response. Here we go. I'm reading it from my phone just to make sure. The user she's a community manager, and her username is Grace from Google. Her response is, "Hey, Armadian, the user who posted the thing. Thanks for bringing this to our attention. We know any sort of heat on a device can be worrisome, but we can confirm there is no thermal overheating issue with Chromecast Ultra. During normal usage, like watching cat videos on YouTube, the surface of the device may get warm to the touch, but this is working as designed. The team has done extensive testing." Oh, it gets better. The team has done extensive testing on the hardware, services, and games. This includes tests of long Stadia play and video sessions, and have not seen any thermal shutdown problems. If you want to chat to us about your Chromecast, you can get in touch with our team. Thanks, Grace from Google.
Hey, Google, my Chromecast is on fire. Google says, yeah, all right.
That's legit her response. Like, you can't make this up. They're like, it's like, my Chromecast is melting. No, it isn't. It's literally melting. No, it's fine.
No, it's not. It's in my hand as a puddle. No, it's not.
We did testing. It's fine.
Two quick things that I adore. Two quick things that I adore that happened. The first thing is that they advertised Stadia to work on phones. You can stream to your phone. It's so cool. Guess what? It only works on Google Pixel. You've been duped. You've been had. No, you can't play it on your Samsung. You have a Google Pixel? We got you, man. We'll melt your Google Pixel. Now, the other funny thing is that in the midst of all of this fire, all of this just hellspawn of Google Stadia news, Sony comes out and it's like, hey fam, you want to remote play your PS4 to anything in the world? We got you, man. Whatever you want. Your PC, your phone. You remember the Vita? Yeah, you can use that. Your computer, your tablet, whatever, man. You got a PS4? You can put it on your screen, whatever. And everyone was like, oh, cool. Can I use a DualShock 4? Yeah, man. Use whatever you want. Whatever. It used to only be on Sony Xperia phones, which I have. But then they were like, nah, you know what? Anything. You guys have fun. You guys just do whatever you want.
Just casually, like, here you go. That's all you need. And
everyone's like, oh, cool.
Yeah. It was actually funny that you said that because actually what started trending on Twitter, there was a guy who left his PS4 in LA and he had his tablet with him, his iPad, and he decided to try the remote play at his parents' place. And he set it up and he says it's working. He's playing Death Stranding on it. And it's working flawlessly. He goes, there's a bit lag here and there, but that's probably due to my parents' internet. He goes, but it's perfectly fine. And he goes, minimal input lag. Everything's great. So the whole feature, the whole thing that Google Stadia has been selling on their whole platform is just a side project of PlayStation. Like, yeah, here you go.
Yeah, PlayStation has been doing this since 2006 when the PSP came out. You could remote play your PS3 to it. This is not new. Sony's been doing this for years. But whatever. It's whatever. Google Stadia, whatever.
Oh man, there's so many bad things about this about the Stadia, and it just like when I think it can't get worse, it just does. It just.
I'm sure we're gonna have more news next week.
Definitely.
I think usually we do 4 topics. I think this is gonna take up like 2 with the amount of garbage that's being thrown at us, but whatever. Stay tuned. We're going to keep covering this.
Yeah, so that's all the time we have for today, but we are going to be doing Q&A. We asked on Twitter, what questions would you guys like to hear on the podcast? And we got 4 of them for you. The first one comes from, do you want to do the first one, or do you want me to do the first one?
I'll do the first one. Let me clarify. Okay. Let me clarify. We didn't just get 4. We got a couple. We only had time to pick 4. So if you want your question, follow us on Twitter at Canadian Guy A with 2 H's at the end, and at Shimp Official. One of us will be tweeting out, "Hey, ask us a question" with hashtag Wumpa Time,
or comment below
with a response. Yeah, just comment below. That'll make it easier, and we'll pick them. So right now we have one from at the Real NCP, and they ask, "Do you think there is any chance we'd see anything related to Sly Cooper to be announced in 2020? Yes, with how PlayStation's moving forward, especially since they announced they have their own production company now.
Right.
So they're making their own movies and TV shows. So the Sly Cooper movie was in development hell, and I think they've taken it over along with Uncharted, God of War, and The Last of Us movies, which have been in development hell for like 8 years. So if not a game, definitely a show, TV show.
Definitely. I think that a TV show to come out paired with Sly Cooper would be a really, really good idea. 2020, I don't know 2020 specifically. It might take a little bit longer. It might be 2021 because of, if it being in development hell for so long, it might take a while for there to actually get there.
Yes, and if it's a game, hopefully it's a PS4 and PS5.
Hopefully. So the next question comes from Thomas Blundell 3, a later taser. They go into like a whole bunch of explanation, but we're just going to read the first line. would you guys be open to a Crash movie if it is a legit leak? So a little bit of backstory there. We got this covered, website came out and said that they have sources close to them that's saying that there is a Crash animated movie being done over at, like you just said, the Sony Studios. And so before we even, maybe next week we'll talk about whether or not this is legit or not. But would I be open to it? I'm open to it. I want to be shocked. Do I think it'll be good? Probably not.
No, probably not. There are certain things you don't need to be made into a movie. This is one of them.
Yeah, Spyro could be done because there's backstory to Spyro, and you got, Spyro as a character. It's just Crash as a character, his shtick is wow and dying. So that's it, right? And he's a nutcase. He's goofy and he's great, and that's fine. But then doing an hour-and-a-half movie on that, I just don't see it. I don't see it.
Did you ever watch the Crash of the Titans shorts they'd air on Cartoon Network?
No.
Good. They are so painful. Imagine that, but it's an hour. It's almost 2 hours long.
Okay, my 10-minute torture session is over. Nope. No. You got
I'm going to leave now. All right, so the third question is from at Blue Knight _V2. Mm-hmm. He asks, which Sonic game, not counting racing, do you guys consider the best and worst post-Adventure 2? It's funny because I don't like Adventure 2, so that's one of them. I think the easy targets are Sonic and the Secret Ring, Sonic and the Black Knight. Mm-hmm. Sonic Unleashed is really good. I don't care what you guys say. All right, Unleashed is really good. Some of it was really good. Free Riders was awful. Sonic 06 wasn't that bad. I think you guys are just mean. And I think the big one is Sonic Boom on Wii U. That one's just bad because it just wasn't finished. I don't know what ones you've played.
Yeah, so for ones for me, I played Sonic and the Secret Rings. Wasn't too fond of that. And actually, with you on the Sonic 06, I didn't realize that people thought it was bad until I came to the Twitter and stuff, and then people were like, oh yeah, that game was terrible. I was like, I didn't mind it. It was pretty cool. Maybe it was just my, just casual Sonic fan speaking here. I did enjoy Adventure 2, so that's me.
There's that.
There's that. So Secret Rings I was not fond of. But the one that I always saw that I was always interested in playing was Sonic Generations and Colors. Those were
Colors. So with Colors, if you're coming from Adventure 2 as your last thing, you'll like Generations more because Colors is more 2D focused than 3D focused.
Right.
I would say that. So if you're gonna play them, just get Generations because right now it's cheap on Steam. It's like $5 on sale.
Might pick it up.
So it's worth it. And then you got the last question.
Yeah, the last question. A question for both of you. What game holds the most emotional value to you? Maybe a game you play a lot with a loved one, or one that means a lot for you for another reason.
And this one was by at Pixel.
Yeah, sorry, my bad. Sorry,
you're good.
I missed that part. But what would you say is your most emotional value game to you?
Spyro 3, hands down.
Spyro 3, really?
Yes, that was my first 3D Spyro, or first 3D game in general. My aunt gave it to me. I had so much fun with it. Every time I'd play the game, I would try to play it on my PS3, PSP, PS1. Mm-hmm. And as a kid, I would always try to act out scenarios in my head, Cinder's over here and Spyro's over there, and they're playing and everything. Blah 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 blah. Mm-hmm. I had a lot of fun with it, and that time of my life wasn't good, but Spyro 3 was there, and I remember having a lot of fun with that. I hacked it to hell and back. But I know that game inside and out. I can crack it. I know every single glitch, every single oddity, all kinds of stuff. Mm-hmm. It's just the back of my hand.
Yeah, so I'm going to give 2 because for me, it was Spyro 1. Spyro 1 for me was because I remember that was my first game that was my game for the PlayStation 1. My first game officially was Pokemon Yellow, but my first 3D game that was bought for me, because all the games that were bought were either for my sister or for my brothers, but this was the first time that my mother and my sister went out and bought a game for me. This was for me, not for anyone else. And everyone else can play, but the main target was me. So Spyro 1, I played that to living heck. But the other one I'm going to say, though, was God of War 4.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah.
All right. So
I forgot you have such a huge attachment to that.
I had such a huge attachment, and the reason why was because I had a connection with my son with that, definitely, because the game came out in April, and my son was born in June, which was going to be 2 months later. And I remember playing that, and I remember some of the obstacles that Kratos had to get over as a father and as a father figure and understanding. And then when my son was born, every day I actually start to see aspects of the struggles that Kratos had to deal with. And one of the things that Kratos had to deal with was that he saw his own issues in his son, and he had to figure out how to break those issues by figuring out how to break his own issues to be able to overcome it so that he can teach his son how to overcome it, right? And though my son is young and he's 1.5, I can see problems that I had as a person in him, and I have to be able to learn myself how to overcome that. And that's why I have such an emotional connection with God of War 4, was because that journey between Atreus and Kratos was really emotional for me.
I can see that, because I played the game too. I 100%ed it, and I completely agree. I love that story to death.
Yeah, it's a fantastic story. So that's all the time we have for today. We had you guys for about an hour. Thank you all so much for tuning in to Wumpa Time. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more. We're going to be releasing a podcast every Saturday. Go follow us on Twitter at ShempOfficial and Canadian Guy 8 with an extra H. And yeah, we're going to be seeing you guys next week. Make sure to leave comments and questions below. So
if you have anything you want us to cover, let us know on Twitter or YouTube. And if you are on the road, we are on SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes, and Google Music. There might be another one I'm forgetting, but it's all in the description. You'll find it there. Follow us on there. It means a lot to us.
Thank you so much for tuning in, guys, and we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.